Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Dill. Late Saturday night, Lincoln Riley, USC. They go on the road. They get punched in the mouth early. They come out flat. And look, I'm on Twitter with a lot of the USC fans. The USC fans were heated. And I get the frustration. Like coming out of a bye week, looking like that in the first quarter on both sides of the football dill. I would define this win as a character win. Like you go on the road, you are out of sorts on the offensive side of the football, specifically with the passing attack. It's what makes this team feel a little bit different. They have the ability to lean on that run game, get the job done. And Dill, can I just say this before we get into it? Coach Hansen, coaching that offensive line, deserves a pay raise. Whatever, blank check to keep him out there at USC, because what he's doing with this unit, the amount of injuries, the rotation that they've had to experience, they go on the road, they play like that, they're moving bodies the whole day. It's massive. It was the biggest concern that I had for USC going into 2025. Like, what's that offensive line going to look like if they get banged up? Well, they've been banged up a decent amount in 2025, and they continue to be rock solid. Didn't play your best football, you go on the road, you win. Something that Lincoln Riley can't say he's done a lot over the last couple of years. Character win. Fired up to get into it. Before we do, and as always, to the USC fans, let it rip in the comment section. It was not pretty, but I do think there are some positives that we can take away from this football game. Dill, I'm going to give you the T-box here. Where do you want to take this?
It's about being able to win without your A stuff. And the A stuff is obviously the passing attack. And it really never found itself. I know they hit the big play to Richardson, but that's like really the only thing that really felt like a spark from that side of the ball. And to be able to just like grind out a win when you're playing that poorly with your like best players, let's say, again, your wide receiver's not having a great day. Obviously, Jaden really kind of struggling.
Jaden looked off kiltered from the rip. And
although he got the run game, credit to him. He didn't let it affect what he was doing in the run game, because I like some of that like read option stuff they were able to get to, even some speed option stuff. I thought that was an effective wrinkle that they were able to still kind of keep him involved despite being really struggling.
Yeah, I think you give Lincoln Riley credit, realizing his this was not Jaden's night on the road. And we talked about this in the preview. Like, Nebraska secondary is one of the best in the country. Now, I had my question marks about just how good they are, because I didn't think they've seen a passing attack like USC's. Well, Dill, after tonight, I feel pretty damn comfortable saying it's one of the better secondaries that you're going to see in 2025. Okay, well, maybe you don't attack them through the air. You have that ability to lean on the run, and here's where I'll go with this. Lincoln Riley being comfortable leaning into it, even when you're down, even when you feel like you might be pressing. Last year, Lincoln Riley, and look, I'm not trying to expunge Lincoln Riley because we're going to get to some of the negatives, but last year, Lincoln Riley, he would have bailed on the run game. He would have lost his patience, and he would have gotten stubborn, and he would have tried to throw in the football. He didn't really panic, kind of stuck to what was working, and it paid off in the second half of this game. And Dill, Kalen Miller coming in at guard, because that was the tricky part. Is Delani Noah goes down first, second possession in this football game. Micah Banuelos is not active tonight. It's like, wow, they're actually going to go for the redshirt freshman walk-on, King Miller's twin brother. I wasn't really sure what we were going to get, though I thought he was awesome tonight. Like, really, really good. This USC offensive line flexing their depth, it should fire the USC fans up, in my opinion. I'm sorry, I'm talking a little long. Look, is this team perfect in 2025? No, it's probably not. You feel really good about what Coach Hansen's going to do on this offensive line over the next couple of years. And I'll tell you this, you got a hell of a lot of talent coming into this program at that position the next couple of years as well.
Yeah, I was really stunned by how down. And again, I know Nebraska's not played the greatest run defense. Like, they're giving up a ton to a lot of teams. But like, when you're dipping that deep in, and especially at a position that, again, I think we all know, like, there's a reason some changes in the front office were made this offseason, because USC didn't look the way they needed to, frankly, on lines of scrimmage. To go out there and really they were like, King Miller was getting like plays where he had 4 or 5 yards before getting touched relatively consistently. Like, it's just all about what the offensive
clinical. The combo blocks.
Well, he obviously protects the ball and not fumbling, but that offensive line was dominant.
Yeah, really excited about what this offensive line is going to be over the next couple of years. Because I'll say this, it's only going to get better because the amount of talent that they're going to have coming into this program over the next couple of years, Coach Hansen gets to work with them. USC fans should be fired up. The last thing I'll say on offense, yes, it was a bad night for the wide receivers. They weren't very involved either. There wasn't a lot of separation getting created. I'll say this. They did block their tails off on the perimeter a decent amount. And that's cool. Like your best players who aren't getting the production they probably want, making it happen in other ways and helping this football team, that's pretty cool too. Defensive side of the football. Look, here's what we've said all year, at least my opinion on USC. This is not a perfect defense, right? I don't think you have enough quality bodies on the defensive line, specifically in the middle. Like, you probably just missed on a guy like Keyshawn Silver. Josh Jarrett hasn't played in a couple of weeks. Floyd Boucard is hurt. You probably aren't good enough there yet. Again, that's going to change because you have a ton of talent coming into that position group. What I love here, though, is that you didn't really give up the explosives. And Nebraska only had 2 plays all game that went for 20-plus yards. And look, if you don't give up the explosive plays, you're going to be a solid defense. And USC did that tonight. It was good enough to win the football game. It's not perfect. There's a lot that needs to get cleaned up. You played situationally good enough to get you the job done on defense. And the secondary, probably the best performance that we've seen from Marcellus Williams all year, right? He's struggled early, kind of getting thrown into the fire as a redshirt freshman. I thought he was awesome tonight against
two like really good wideouts. You
yeah.
probably got to give like Nebraska their flowers, and they made some plays, but like those two, and Isaiah Hunter and obviously Dan Key are like monsters, and they've been really good all year.
Yep.
I'm kind of with you. Marcellus Williams was the guy who like really stood tall, did what he needed to do to give this team a chance.
And you tackled well in space, which is a thing that Dana Holgerson's really good at, right? He gets the ball out quick. He's going to make you fly around and try to tackle his really good athletes in space. And for the most part, thought USC was up for the task as well. What I want to ask you now is, are USC sitting 6-2 heading into the month of November? I guess we're kicking off the month of November right now. What are your expectations for this football team the rest of the way? Keeping in mind, we got a Friday night game against Northwestern coming up next week.
Yeah, it's all about the Oregon game now. Like, I look at the way USC's playing, I think you feel pretty good about most of their schedule. That Oregon game, it'll be a play-in, and like we'll see if they can obviously make it happen. Again, like they're not complete in the way Oregon is right now, so it's not like I'm looking at that game thinking USC is probably going to win it. But again, they do have some real clutch key players who are playing or at least can get to a level that's big time. Like Mekhi Lemon and Maavo, when they're going, are a real problem for everybody. And then, frankly, you look like if your offensive line can hold up and be tough, it'll give you a chance to be competitive in football games. And right now, hopefully, if they get a little bit more healthy, like they're playing good enough ball up front.
I will say this. What is your biggest concern about Oregon? It's the middle of that defensive line, like what they do stopping the run. Well, USC showing they can run the football really, really well, which is going to give you a chance. And I think I would agree with you. And again, it's actually really funny, Dill, because many of y'all know the boys are Michigan fans, right? I view USC in a very similar light, where it's I don't know if this team, in fact, I don't think this team is national championship level this year. I think they have probably a little bit too many holes that they need to overcome. I want to see improvement. I want to see sticking to the process a little bit and kind of riding that momentum into what might be a really good offseason once again. You want to, here's the best way to put it. Rome wasn't built in one day. And I know that's corny. And I know that there will be USC fans that are yelling at me through the screen saying, well, Lincoln Riley's been here for multiple years now. He's had time to build. Well, what I would say is I kind of view you're year one into your rebuild. I think you have to recognize Lincoln Riley really screwed up his first couple of years. A lot of those screw-ups got masked by Caleb Williams being a dude. There were some serious problems in terms of how Lincoln Riley was building this roster, running this program, the coaching hires he made. He's fixed those. And now you're not starting from scratch. You're 6-2. You're a top 25 team, but you're building back the right way, in my opinion.
Well,
And
you're
you have
kind
to
of
be.
impressed with the speed. Like I honestly came into this year thinking this offensive line was going to be a real problem. Like when they
Yeah.
go see a team like Michigan or even like Notre Dame, like yeah, they're just gonna kind of get run through, and that's it's not really what it's been. Like their offensive line at no point this year I've looked at and
No,
been like, dear God, like they're not giving them a
no.
chance to be competitive. If anything,
It's the
like the one
defensive
game,
line.
like that Illinois game, a little bit ugly for sure with your defense. But aside from that, it's like
And Notre
I don't
Dame.
well,
I like the
Notre Dame's a great team in my opinion, so, like,
I
I can,
agree.
like, deal with losing that type of game to Notre Dame.
Sure.
Like, you obviously don't wanna lose games, but the Illinois game was the only one that I kinda feel like is an ugly one at this point. USC, like, the way that offensive line is played, and, like, even the defensive line to an extent, like, the way they've been able to kinda
I
rebuild it
I
after, like, being
I
horrible.
I
Like, you
kind
go
of
back
want
to
to talk.
Lincoln,
I don't.
everybody's getting
I'm going to
so bad.
disagree with you. I don't think the defensive line's nearly where it needed to be. I think you messed up with the additions of John Jarrett and Keyshawn Silver, and I don't even think the. Maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh, but even some of the development is maybe not where I think like Devin Tompkins. I think there's another level Devin Tompkins maybe I was expecting from him. He Here's what I will say about this defensive line. I want to see it lean into the young cats more. There's specifically a guy like Jakeem Stewart, specifically a guy like Floyd Boucard when he comes back from injury. Now, why do you ask that? Well, look, it's not Jakeem Stewart's not perfect, right? He looks like a reclassified true freshman on a Big Ten football field. Well, he doesn't really physically look at it. He plays like it sometimes. He creates the negative plays at times, right? I look at him and say it's not going to be perfect always, but he has the chance to really change a game with the ability to create some negative plays in a way that like Keyshawn Silver doesn't really have that opportunity. And so I want to see a lean into some of those young cats, G-Day, Jakeem Stewart, Floyd Boucard when he comes back, because I think you're seeing all of those players move in the right direction. And that's the group. If we're talking about USC winning a national championship in 2 years, the guys we're going to be talking about, Jakeem Stewart, G-Day, Floyd Boucard. I want to see you give them more opportunity, especially
If
when
we're gonna
Floyd.
be frank about the rest of the year, Kobe Pepe should not be losing snaps to Keyshawn Silver
He
ever.
should be
I like
playing
again,
over
Kobe
Keyshawn.
Pepe doesn't have like the ceiling, but at
Yeah,
least he like plays hard and like does his job. Keyshawn Silver to me, I don't really
yeah,
see the value of him playing that much. I think
yeah,
he's really struggled pretty much all year.
yeah. That was a pretty Chad Bowden move. All right, we'll pause it there. Appreciate you guys. Hey, we'll watch this game back and give some more details regarding individual players. There's a lot going on for the boys on a Saturday night. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later.